Hello everybody! So today I wanted to make a video that combines my love for K-pop and my love for creative design and combine them into one little video. And by little, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I haven't planned it. But today I wanted to give my reasons as to why I personally love K-pop albums and why I think that they are an immensely brilliant outlet for creative people. If you are new to my channel, my name is Janice. My videos usually contain little bits and pieces of creativity, some stuff that I'm interested in, whether that would be, I don't know, a room tour where I design my entire room design, or I make a skincare brand for a K-pop band, or I've done videos where I speak every language that I know, not every language. That sounds like an intense video, but that's not what I'm doing today. But if any or all of that sounds interesting to you, have a look around on my channel, and if you like what you see, why not stick around? I was introduced to K-pop in 2016, August 2016, I remember it quite vividly. My coworker at the time had tried very hard to get me into K-pop, but I never really vibed with it. Or rather, I was very much in the mindset of, I have to be able to understand and sing along to the songs and be able to see the bands live. And if I can't do those two things, then it'll just be a sad experience for me. Fast forward 5 years and, you know, here I am. If you have no idea as to what K-pop is, I might be saying words that don't sound very familiar to you. I will try to explain them. If I ever happen to say another word that you have no idea what that means and I haven't explained it here, I will do a little pop-up screen explaining exactly what that means. Bias. A bias is a person's favorite member of a specific group. So, to put it in a sentence, my 17 bias is Chunwonu. K-pop idol basically means celebrity, so idol, celebrity, it's sort of synonymous. K-pop idols is what they are called. They're celebrities, they're skilled musicians, dancers, like an all-rounder package. Whereas in the Western media, it's also okay if you're not the most handsomest person in the entire world. If you're a brilliant singer and performer, you can still make it big with the right connections. Or a trust fund. So K-pop groups are mostly formed. They aren't organically brought together through friendships and, you know, trust building. Whereas in the Western world, bands and groups are mostly formed through, you know, sure, like companies saying, oh, these people would work well with you. But for the most part, the Western artists kind of find themselves and then go to a label. It's not the label assigning members to the new group, which is very normal in K-pop. In K-pop, it's very normal for you as an individual to go to an audition to become a K-pop trainee or an idol trainee, which means that once you have signed the contract, you have passed auditions, you have signed the contract, you are then put into a vigorous, and I mean vigorous, training program. This can be, depending on the company, this can be various things. It can mean daily weigh-ins, it can mean, you know, like 12-hour training schedules, singing lessons, anything and everything to get you ready to become an idol. Now, is this entire thing quite toxic? Yes. If you are more interested in the subject on like the toxicity of the side of K-pop, look up slave contracts. The first time that I found out about this, I was entirely appalled and shocked, but it's very interesting. But now that I have done this little mini explanation of the world of K-pop, let's dive into what I as a creative person love so much about K-pop albums and the creativity behind it. A typical Western artist CD comes with the CD with around 20 songs, more or less, a lyrical booklet, maybe a thank you note, maybe some coupons, all of that in a plastic shell in a square format. A K-pop album can be various shapes and sizes and contains much more merchandising than a Western artist's CD. With me here, I have all of my K-pop albums, so I can show you a little bit of the variety of K-pop albums that there are. This here was my very first one. This is not going to be a showing off my K-pop albums video. That's what this was originally going to be, but then I was like, that's a little bit boring. I can do that, but I'll make it a separate video. So this here was my very first K-pop album. This was gifted to me, and I blame the person who gifted me this album entirely for the rest of my collection. It's not a huge collection. You can look up collection videos on YouTube with people who have like 150 albums. Amazing. I don't have that kind of money. But this here was my very first album. And right off the bat, we see the format is very different. This here is not your traditional little, you know, square thing. It's like an actual physical, like it's almost a book. And another thing that you should know with K-pop albums is per album that they bring out, they often bring out multiple versions with the same music on it, but the visuals are different. So as an example, for this one, this is Going 17 by 17. The version is called Make It Happen. There's also Make a Wish and Make It 17. And the visuals of the containments and the visuals and the contents of this will be very different depending on the version you buy. So if we open this, as a creative person, I'm already like, ooh, a sleeve. That's fun. And then you have this little tray here, which contains all of the actual necessary items in it. So if this here is our base example, the first thing that we see, if I can get it out, is a little book. And you might be wondering, okay, so that must be the lyric book. It is not. This here is a photo book of every single member and the entire band within a specific concept. So with 17, there are 13 members, so every member here needs to have a specific page, at least one, but mostly 2 or 3 dedicated to that specific member. For example, here we have a double page dedicated just to Hoshi. Hoshi. Here we have Uji. Here we have some group photos, and it's all kind of within a sailor aesthetic. Don't ask me why. I don't know if this has anything to do with like the lyrics. Another thing that we will find in this here album, along with the nautical theme, is this little paddle boat paddle. It's made of paper. And once again, there are multiple versions of this, with each member getting assigned a specific design. The member's name is on the back, Senkwan, which is one of my favorites. Of course, there is also a lyric paper. This one, depending on the companies and depending on the albums, these are another little set of book. In this case, it's more like, you know, a piece of paper with the lyrics written on it. The CD, of course, is present. You can kind of like, you can even display this, I guess. Another thing we have in this version is an embarkation card with all of the members' birthdays and, I don't know, random instructions. It's also got the release date on it. This here is something that's only in this album, but I think it's a very cute touch, you know. And one of the most important things, besides the music in K-pop albums, are these. Depending on the person who is purchasing a K-pop album, these cards here, these pieces of paper, hold a lot of value, if not the same amount of value than the actual K-pop album itself. I've got here DK and Joshua and Vernon. Depending on the members, depending on the band, depending on the adorableness of the photo, these singular pieces of paper can go for up to like $20 online, if not more. I'm pretty sure I've seen more. Personally, I don't have a lot of use for these, but I do keep them. I've never like given one away. You might be wondering what the use of these is. It depends on the fan, really. There's people who have them in collective binders where they collect only a single member, and then when they buy an album, they will trade the unwanted member for the member of their choice. But there's also people who will put them in a little vinyl casing, put stickers on them, decorate it. There's people who have a clear phone case and then pop this in the back of their phone case so they can display it or look at it every time they look at their phone. There's various uses for these. I personally, as I said, I'm not a collector of these, but I think they are sweet. As I said, collector item. If you have a favorite member, if you feel like you need to get your biases pick, then you might go online, or you might buy multiple albums to get the pick that you wanted. These are called photo cards. Now, another K-pop album, because not every K-pop album looks the same, this here is the same band, same exact band, but is very much more like of a book variety. It's not even the same size. Significantly increased in size. The sizing is different to the last one, and this is the same band. It is a newer album. This one's Alone 17. I think it's version 01. Personally, I chose the one with the ring motif because I think it's a very beautiful cover. But this is actually just a hardcover. And under it is an actual book with a like squishy, I don't know what the technical terms are in English, with like a squishy cover. It's not a hard cover, it's like a squishy cover. The CD is in here, in this little envelope. I'm gonna have to remove this little dust jacket. The entire rest of the book is just the photo book. That's my favorite member. The CD feels more like it's on the back burner, but the photo book. With this album, we actually get a sticker set. You can't really tell because it's white embossing, but believe me, it's every single member with a little circular design. It's very cute. We also get a postcard. I got Joshua. I seem to always get Joshua in my albums. A photo card is pretty much always included within a K-pop album. Another version is over here. This is a BTS album. It's the Forever Young album, and it's the day version. I only recently found out that there's two versions of this album. But this here, you have to slide out. There's a little carton. I don't know what the name of this is in English. Once again, photo book with multiple pages. We have the CDs in a little encasing so that you can slide it in and out. With this here album, we actually also get a poster. Oh God. Very elegant way of displaying that. Photo book, and within the photo book we will find a photo card. Now this here is not in the traditional design. I can't seem to find an actual photo card in the photo card original, you know, template shape. Not sure if I lost it or if this is the only thing that's within the album, but you know. We do also have a more traditional sort of style of CD. This here is End Flying, the real, once again with a little plastic dust jacket with the members on it. The CD, always there. Ah! Photo cards. But always in K-pop albums, a little photo book. I think this here doubles as a photo and a lyrical book. Over here we actually have two different kinds of photo cards. This here is with a glossy finish and rounded corners. This here is a matte finish and sharp corners. But as you can see, K-pop albums are very diverse. They come in very different shapes and sizes. 17, but this here is also 17. Various different shapes and sizes, various versions of the same album. There are photo books with different concepts for every single album. It's very intense, K-pop, you know. Even like within different companies, you can have very different styles. For example, a BTS album, okay, wait, this is, you can't see it. A BTS album might not look the same as a TXT album. This year is my newest album. Very happy with her, love her. but the style of it is very different depending on the band. And once again, here we have a foil design. We have a protective dust jacket, which is iridescent. I can't tell if you can tell on camera. A little bit. It's iridescent. The actual album itself has a foil design with a little swirly heart on it. Love Yourself, Answer. I've got the version E. And then with TXT, this is the same company, but it's sort of like the younger brother band to BTS. Plastic dust jacket with a more like, I want to say like a 2000s sort of vibe. It's giving Avril Lavigne. This here comes with a lot of stuff. I was actually really surprised because this is my first TXT album and I was so surprised and I felt like, damn, they're very stingy when it comes to BTS stuff. It all very much suits the style of the actual band members itself and the band itself. This has a skating theme, but with TXT albums, for example, you get a lot more stuff. You get a little standee that you can stand up. Got Huninkai. We get a poster which is folded up in this way. There is a lyric book with a beautiful detail. Oh, I freaked out when I saw this. I was like, ah, that's so cool. So, why do I, as a creative person, certified graphic designer here in Switzerland, probably elsewhere too, so why do I, as a creative person, love K-pop albums? If you're very much into the printing side of things, it can be very interesting. For example, just the different mediums, like this here's a little dust jacket design, and then there's the actual book design. The photo cards, you have to choose the actual CD design, what you want the CD to look like. It can be a very fun, but also challenging project if you set yourself aside the time. I feel like this lamp is going crazy. I feel like it's going on and off and on and off. I don't know why. Okay, look, it's happening! Or is that the camera? If you are a creative person and you're kind of bored and you don't know what your next project should be, I recommend you try and come up with a concept design for a K-pop album. That can contain whatever you want, really. The main ingredients are a photo album cover, you know, like a CD cover, what the CD itself looks like, and photo cards. The rest is kind of up to you. Would you want it to include a poster? Would you want it to include stickers? Do you want like a little paddle for a paddle boat, as we saw with the 17 CD? It can really just contain whatever you want. Even if it's just like picking colors to fit a certain theme. Like this over here looks very different to this here. This here is a photograph, whereas this here is very much entirely graphic design work. There are two versions of this, so you have to think about how do we make the content different, but also still within the same theme of things. It can be very good practice to, you know, like get your creative brain back into gears. If you are a K-pop stan, or you don't even have to be a K-pop stan, but now that you've seen all of these things and you're a creative person, I challenge you, I'm gonna challenge you now. If you are a creative person, I challenge you to take your favorite album, whether it be K-pop or not, and redesign it as a K-pop album, repackage it, and just imagine how you would want it to look as a K-pop album. The things that need to be, you know, within the thing are an actual cover, whether that be a photograph or not. For example, it can also just be this. Oh! It can also be something like this. If you think about it, it can be whatever you want. How do you want the dust jacket to look? Is there a dust jacket? What's the preferred medium? Do you want it to be square? Do you want it to be A5? What's the sizing? Do you want it to be a book type? Do you want it to be more of a this type? I don't know what you call this. Would you like it to be more of like, you know, this kind? There are so many variations, and there's so many different variations of K-pop albums that you can do and you can design. It's very much like the world is open to you. So if you are in need of a creative outlet, go for it. Redesign your favorite album as a K-pop album. If you look at how companies will announce K-pop albums, you can pretty much see what the contents are. You can kind of base your ideas off of that. But then you also have to keep in mind, what would the audience want to see from that artist? So for example, if we take Doja Cat, what would her album look like if it was a K-pop album? What would the lyric book look like? What would the photo cards look like? What would the actual photo book look like? What would the album itself look like? You can really much just redesign the album and put a K-pop spin on it. I think it's a very cool exercise in a creative process. And it can kind of broaden your horizons to maybe even different mediums. If you have studied graphic design and you've never really worked in print production, you can kind of start on broadening your horizons as to like what is even possible within like a printing scope. With the photo book, how do I want to lay it out? Do I want the photo book to be separate from the lyrical book? Do I want it to be a combination of the two? Do I want it to be a separate entity? Do I want there to be a dust jacket? Do I want the photo book to be an actual physical book? Or do I want it to be kind of stuck to the actual pages next to the CD? Do I want it to be able to be removable? How do I want the CD to look? How do I want the photo cards to look? Should they be selfie style? Should they be group photos? What's the sort of general feel that you want to achieve with the entire thing? What are the little add-ons? Are there stickers? Are there posters? Will there be postcards? Are there little knickknacks that you give with each album? What are the contents? I think it could also be a really cool exercise for your portfolio. If you don't know what to put in your portfolio, just self-work can look really, really cool. And I think a K-pop album could definitely be something that, you know, will bring something new to the table. Because I feel like everybody has designed business cards. Everybody has designed menu cards in the past. But who can say that they have designed their own K-pop album? You can write a little description as to what K-pop albums are, sort of an introduction to people that have no idea about it. Depending on the kind of work that you want to do as a graphic design artist, I feel like it can open a lot of doors if you start looking into K-pop albums and the design and creative process that goes on behind the scenes. I think that's all I have to say for now. So I'm gonna go. I hope this helped you find some inspiration. I hope this introduced you a little bit closer to the creative side of K-pop albums. I hope you have learned something new, and if you did and if you enjoyed it, you can stick around, but I'm gonna do the outro bit right now. So this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can stick around till when I make a new one. I hope you drink lots of water, get lots of sleep, and this is the end. Goodbye. I would also like to give a very special shout out to my Patreons. Thank you so much for your support. An even bigger special shout out to my Patreon lemon planter, aka Alice. I hope you enjoy the contents very much, and this is the end. Thank you for your support. Goodbye.